Hey, I'm Justin, and I'm going to give you 7 steps to a successful website launch. So before I get into the 7 steps to giving you a successful website launch, the big thing is going before you get those steps. The reason why you want to have steps in place is because what happens is if you get into the website and build it out, most companies fail at the very end where like things weren't talked about beforehand, and it ends up going over hours in the project, and the project can spiral out of control. So the reason why these steps are important is because it's going to prevent all those chaos from happening at the very end. Step 1, which pretty much most firms do not do, we call it a discovery, which pretty much is getting all the detailed answers to every problem that could be faced on a project figured out up front. So we spend a lot more of our time up front, what we call discovery, going over the sitemap, going over all the requirements, all the specs, and really kind of figuring out everything the client would possibly want and documenting it out in a line item fashion. So that way the client can go over everything, agree to the scope before we actually start the phase 2, which is the next step. So step 2 is design. Design's super important, obviously with Apple, and everyone cares about how things look. It's pretty much what's going to close sales at the end of the day, having a good site design. Really what we take into account is we do the research, the user experience research. We'll also do a brand style guide for the site, and we'll come up with all the pages that are key to the project. So that's all taken care of in step number 2. Step number 3 is development. Once it goes through design approval, we move it into development. And it's really key with development to set up a really good staging environment for every client, so they can use the staging environment after the website is launched to update the project, to make changes before it goes into production. Also with development is we want to make sure we have documentation set up, like a Git documentation. So every line of code that is written is documented. So that way, anybody that works on the project in the future knows everything that happened through the whole course of development on the project. In development, we'll probably scope up all that work that was done in discovery, line it out, and distribute it to our development team to actually produce and do. Step number 4 is testing. What our team will do is we'll go through, after we develop the whole site, everything looks good, we'll go through QA design with the design team. We'll come back in, look at the site, make sure everything's looking correct, and our development team will then test the site. So we'll test if there's a e-commerce site. We'll check out products. We'll make sure things work both on B2C or B2B, depending on how the site's set up. So we'll go through all of our internal checks, even testing on mobile, on all the different browsers and platforms that are needed to make sure the testing goes really well. Then we'll kick it back to the client for them to test. We'll make sure all the checks lists are done with their feedback back to us, and we'll get ready for a launch. Step 5, training. Training is important before we launch. We want to make sure that our clients are trained properly to how to use their site, especially if it's an e-commerce site. There's a lot of moving pieces with our fulfillment center and the people that are taking the orders and processing them through. Make sure everyone's trained appropriately. And we'll usually do an in-person training if needed, if they're close by. Secondly, we'll also video record the training so that we can send them the videos that we put together for the client. That's been really helpful in the process. We'll also do screen shares if needed too. And obviously we'll be around to answer any questions training-wise after the website launches as well. Step number 6 is launching the website, right? Whoa, the site's launching. We want to make sure it is taken care of, the site launches flawlessly. But one of the big things is we have a checklist, an internal checklist of everything that needs to happen before launching the site. Obviously, we let the client know when the site's launching. The big thing that we've learned, obviously, is not launching on a Friday or near the weekend because everyone's out of town. If something goes wrong at launch or after launch, maybe a couple days they said, oh, we forgot to add coupons or this or that. We will be, we want to launch on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest, so we have time to adjust if something comes up. So last but not least, step number 7, which is super key, support, right? Everyone's got to have it, but most people don't ever put it in. We allow 30 days to make sure that you are fully supported, or any of our clients are fully supported with any need that comes up. If they want to change a banner, if they want to do something, we want to make sure our team has the bandwidth to be able to handle anything that might come up. This creates a very successful from beginning to end touch point, that from the whole beginning of discovery to the end of support and even lasting in the future, that it's going to be good. I hope this helps you learn a little bit about how we process things on a successful website launch. Thanks for watching.